Good evening, everyone. I am so excited tonight to be back with another episode, another show for Let's Talk Destiny. I am just so blessed to have my guest tonight, the one and only Apostle Lougenia Rucker. She has been such a blessing to me, poured into my life in ways that she doesn't even realize that she has blessed me. So tonight, I'm just honored to have her with me. Welcome to the platform, Dr. Rucker.
Thank you.
Love
Thank
you.
you.
So, I want to tell you a little bit about Apostle Rucker before we get into the show. She is the founder and apostle of Divine Diamonds Ministry. And we'll talk a little bit more about that shortly. Divine Diamonds Ministries is a Christian online virtual empowerment and training ministry. The sole purpose of the ministry is to love, empower, equip, train, and transform women and men to live a more abundant life on purpose. As a result of the continued growth stages of this ministry, the ministry now offers weekly live Bible study, which I've been blessed to tune into sometimes, and you get the opportunity, you should do so also. Transformation life coaching services, specialized empowerment masterclasses, book coaching and publishing services, and leadership growth and development. Dr. Rucker, I when I first started this Let's Talk Destiny platform, I wanted to make sure that it is a purpose driven format. I want people to not just come in here and talk, but I want it ultimately to be a place where people acknowledge and find their divine purpose and pursue their divine purpose. And that's one of the things that I love about you when I hear you speak, when I watch what you share online. And I believe that that is one of the main purposes of Divine Diamond Ministries. Am I right?
You're right about it. Purpose. We're given a purpose. We got a plan. God's got a plan for our lives. And without purpose, there is no purpose. How about that?
Absolutely. So before we get into talking about the ministry and this beautiful gala that's coming up, let's tell us a little bit about you as a person. Like, where were you born and raised? You have siblings. What are some of your hobbies? Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm a Philadelphia, Pennsylvania native, been here all my life, but well traveled throughout the world. My vision has always been big and the ministry is global. But I am first and foremost a woman of faith. Without faith, I wouldn't be here today. When I was struck down by a hit and run car as a young uh, teenager, I was left for dead. Okay. And it was nothing short of a miracle that I was saved in more ways than one, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. However, I spent the next year in hospitalization, laying flat on my back. I had major surgeries, and the doctor's report was that I would never walk again. So when I was struck, down, unconscious, rushed into emergency surgery, then spent 1 year on my back, believing God that I was going to get up out of that bed and walk again, not knowing that the doctor said I would never walk again, but I had a praying mother like you had a praying mother.
All
Okay.
right. All right.
And I had support. Being the only girl, I had brothers, I had sister friends, I had a community, I had a church. I was raised up in a Baptist church. And I knew God through going to church and through my mama and my grandmama and my great grandmother.
Yeah.
But I got to know God for myself laying on my back for 12 months. And it wasn't over with. The second year was spent in physical therapy, learning how to walk again, learning how to do the basic things that we do as young girls and young ladies, in terms of my independence. And it was the most challenging time of my life, but faith brought me through. And so, as a result of that kind of traumatic experience, I've always kind of walked by myself, because when I returned back to school, I wasn't able to do what the other girls were doing at the time. I miss, the homeschool dance and the proms and all of the fun things, because I was on crutches, I was on a cane, I was wearing orthopedic shoes, support socks and stockings, all of those apparatus and medical support to get me back up again into a full whole position. And that took time. And so
Yes.
no one, really wanted to play with me and hang out with me. But I was okay with that. I was okay with that. I was just thankful to be alive. So I learned early on how to be me and be by myself and be good with me. And so I've taken that, of course, I've evolved and grew, through the challenge of not everybody wanting to be with me, not everybody being my friend, and those
Yes.
kind of social, peer related growth things we all go through. And so
Yes.
consequently, here I am now as a leader, and leadership is a lonely place, and I'm okay with that.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
It's a cut above the norm. And so my thing is, if I can't make you better, then I'm not going to make you worse. And so I know what it is to get in there, to really dive in deep. Physical therapy was painful for me. It was traumatic for me. And to see and to watch and to grow and to evolve into a woman of faith that, with a tenacious, uh, consistent, laser focused, purpose driven walk now
Yes, yes.
related to coming through that season of my life. So, I'm happy, I'm fulfilled, I'm satisfied in him. And when you have purpose, because I found my purpose in that season, but it's grown. I didn't know
Yes,
I was going to
yes,
be leading the ministry.
yes.
I didn't know I was going to be coaching and mentoring. I didn't know I was going to be doing things
Right.
that were ahead of this time, like an internet ministry in 2009. This
Yeah,
is
yeah,
long before the pandemic. When God
yes.
told me to go on the internet and do ministry, I was like, huh? What? Like, how we do that? God, how we gonna have church online?
Yeah,
Because I was used to the four walls, the
that's
comfort,
right.
the structure, the program, the
Yes,
tradition,
that's right.
no cameras, sitting in the pew, you know, like that Stevie Wonder song, acting out in the back,
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
but the
Yes,
internet just opened it up to a whole nother level for me. So, that's who I am. That's where I'm at. I'm just transparent, authentic, real.
ma'am.
And
Yes,
and
ma'am.
and and if you're not going to talk real talk, then I don't have time to chat. How about that?
I know that's right. I know that's right because you are about real work. And it's one of the many things that I love about you. And I was thinking as you were talking about when you went through that season of being hurt and laying flat on your back, you really had nobody to depend on to do things for you. But your faith sustained you. Even on those days when the pain is great, the tears are flowing, you maybe feel like, oh, okay, this is crazy. Why is this happening to me? I want to get up. I want to do this. But your faith sustains you during those times. And it's those experiences, Apostle, that I find that help us to get where we are right now. Because I
Amen.
was thinking when you were talking about leadership, and it is a lonely place because a lot of people don't understand why you have to pull off sometimes or why you say no when they want you to say yes and things like that. And it is a lonely place, but it is those seasons, as you said, that have prepared you, that prepare us for this time. I wanted to ask you first, I want to say I love the name Divine Diamonds Ministries. Can you tell us where that name came from?
Oh, that is such a God sent name. It was around 2009. I had buried my mother 3 years prior, and I was coming out of my grief, out of my depression. I was God was beginning to allow me to come up out of myself. He allowed me that shut in and that shut down time because I was a caregiver for 10 years, Jamie. For 10 years, I served my mother, and I would do it all over again. It was never a complaint. It was never too much, but it consumed me totally. And because she had a stroke and she was totally disabled, and I refused to put my mother in a nursing home. So that required 24/7 care.
Yes.
And as a result of that, when I buried her, I had no purpose. A part of me left with my mother. And the other part wanted to go and be with her. My dad had left in 1985, so I had already made the transition, and I was good. I was cool because I still had mom, my best friend, my first coach, my mentor. And so it was a difficult transition. And so I got tired of myself after 3 years, shades pulled down, windows closed, not going out, maybe going out in the evening to get something to eat. And then I had a wake-up call. I had a little medical scare, and the doctor, told me I had to make some changes in my lifestyle, or I would be subject to some other, debilitating situations on a long-term basis. And I said, oh, no, I can't go out like that. And so that was my wake-up call. That's when I got up out of myself, and I decided, okay, well, God, what do we do now? Who am I? Where am I? I came out of a divorce. I lost my mother. I lost my health. I lost my job. How about that? So I was in a total new place, and I really didn't have a sense of direction. So I knew that I needed to pray. So slowly but surely, getting back into a posture of prayer, getting out of my depression, out of my grief, accepting the reality that mom was no longer with me. But I knew, being a believer, that I would see her again. So I began to raise up my consciousness and become more aware of me. And I was in a mess. I was in a quiet mess. Everybody didn't know it. They thought I was good because I was quiet. I was real quiet with it. And you know how people say, well, how are you doing? I'm good. I'm okay. It was one of those kind of things. Right. And so when in having this conversation with God, I realized I knew for some time I was called to ministry, but when you're young and you own a fashion boutique and you work in corporate management and you're doing your thing, you're not really thinking ministry. Right. For real. And so we came to a defining moment. Like, where am I? I mean, I'm still pretty much a young woman, and I'm like, God, what do we do now? And that's when I realized it was time to move forward in ministry. And so I accepted that challenge. I accepted that call in the prayer time with him. And so my next question was, well, what do we call the ministry? And at that time, people were talking about, I could have said Lougenia Rucker's ministry. And I was like, nah, I don't want my name out there like that. I'm like, I'm not feeling that. And so I heard a word from the Holy Spirit, birthstone. And I said, birthstone? And so I said, okay, what's my birthstone? It's a diamond. Yes. And so the next thing was, okay, diamond? Well, diamond what? The diamond who? And so to distinguish it from the average way of thinking about diamonds, through this conversation with the Holy Spirit, we came up with putting something sacred or something with a sacred meaning, I should say, in terms of words, and put divine diamond, because I had knew that I wasn't going to be the traditional churchy girl. I knew that because of all that I had been through. It was it wasn't life as usual. It wasn't going to be church as usual. And I had experienced the corporate world and the entrepreneurship. I traveled Europe and the Caribbean islands and Canada. I was like, okay, we doing something here. And so Divine Diamonds, and I've always been about the people. So I didn't want it ministry. I wanted it plural because I wanted to open the door for other ministries to connect and to collaborate with me. And so here we are. This is how we have Divine Diamonds Ministries.
I love it. I love it. And we have those who are watching us who would like to also remind you to share the video on your pages so that your network can also be blessed by the word. that is coming forth tonight from Dr. Rucker. Dr. Rucker, we also have a couple people, Dr. Sandy Williams is with us, joining us, and she said, amen, leadership can be a lonely place. Good evening, Dr. Sandy. And she is another person that God has blessed me to connect with. And I keep thinking about what you say about the internet. Like, these are places and people and connections and oil that I'm receiving that I may not have ever received if I had to depend on meeting these people in person. So I'm just so grateful that even with the internet, so many people have so many negative things to say about it, but I love it. I just absolutely love being able to connect with persons such as yourself and Dr. Sandy. Also, thank you to each of you, as I said, who are watching. Please be sure to share. Mutima Jackson, thank you so much for joining me. She's one of my greatest loyal supporters in ministry and in their Mother's Cry, everything. She's just an awesome supporter. And I would, sure, Dr. Sandy wants to know if it's okay for her to share to the boss group. Absolutely. We don't mind, do we, Dr. Rucker?
Absolutely not. We boss ladies, boss women.
That's
Thank
right.
you so much.
We're doing boss things, so we don't mind
Yes,
sharing.
yes.
I was thinking about when you were talking, Apostle Rucker, also about tradition. And sometimes when we get stuck, I think that's where we miss the next place that God has for us. What do you see as some major obstacles and hindrances that stop us with regard to being game changers? Because I love that slogan that you had about being a game changer. What do you think are some of the things that hinder us from being able to do that?
I think our biggest challenge is ourselves. I think oftentimes we stand in our own way. We look at ourselves and we lack the confidence, we lack perhaps courage, we compare ourselves, we don't like ourselves, we don't take care of ourselves. And so in order to do a work, you got to be at your best game. And to change the game, you got to you got to like you first, you got to know you before you can change the world. You got to first change you. And
Yeah,
so I think the
that's right.
number one obstacle that stands before us, because greatness is inside of us, and with that greatness comes the capabilities and the skills and the gifts. It's in our DNA, but we have to unlock it, we have to release it, we have to get
Yes,
out of our own ways, we have to get out of the way of thinking. Mindset is everything. That's what I tell all of my coaching clients and my tier 1 level program. Mindset is everything. We got to deal with our minds, and the thoughts
yes,
that go
ma'am.
between the right ear and the left ear. And some of that thought is low level. And so that means you have to raise up your consciousness, your awareness. Like I talked earlier about getting out of, I recognized I was in a state of grief. I wasn't in denial.
Right,
I'm a
right.
really upfront, honest person. And so I was honest with myself. Look, this is a low place for you. You had a right to be there for a season, but the
Yeah,
season has
yeah,
changed. There's a
yes.
story in the Bible where Prophet Elijah was at the brook and the dirty bird, the raven, was feeding him, and he was fine. He was laid back, and the bird was coming every day feeding him. And then
That's
one day
right.
the bird didn't show up, and the brook dried up. And so God told him he had to move and go to the next
Yes,
place. So we got to move out of ourselves. We got to get out of our way. We do things that sabotage us and set us back instead of doing things that will solidify and
yes,
amplify our story and our voice and our vision, and that comes down to the circle and the company and the conversation that
yes,
you
ma'am.
maintain in your daily practice, in your daily walk. So the number one thing in your way is you.
Wow, I love that. I love that. And the story about Elisha being fed by the raven and drinking at the brook, I think about that thing that sticks in my head sometimes, what you just said about the brook dried up. And what happens is when our brook dries up, many of us just sit there. We don't know whatever else to do. Where do I go? What am I supposed to do? And it's like you say, if you have to change your mind, first you have to recognize the brook is dried up, the raven is gone. Either I'm going to get up and do something or I'm going to just lay here and die. And so there are people such as yourself that God uses to speak to us, to train us, to empower us, to give us information that we need to move to the next level. Now, I want to talk also, before we leave tonight, I want you to tell us about this amazing gala that is coming up. I just see, so I really wish I would be able to be in Philadelphia that day, but maybe next time. Yes. Tell us a little
Well,
bit about
if you can be with us on Saturday, October the 7th, we are planning a phenomenal ultimate experience. It's not just an event. I am recognizing and honoring the game changers, my coaching clients, people who have done the work around the 5 pillars of the program. They've been in session, they've been in training, they have surrendered and submitted, so that they can change. And they're doing it big now. And so what I do as a way of giving back is celebrate them. We don't celebrate the sisterhood enough. We don't, and I know the pandemic had a large element of control over our lives for the last couple of years, but we got to get back to supporting each other and showing up for one another. And so that's what I do. I give back through this gala. It's black tie, it's formal. I'm challenging people to do you on the next level.
Yes,
wear the gown, wear the tuck,
wear the crown.
I got the crown. We're gonna be crowning our game changer. I have a whole service dedicated to their transformation process. And we're going to culminate it by placing a crown strategically and spiritually. It's very significant what we're about to impart and transfer on that day. But we have live praise and worship. We're going to have lunch served. We're going to have a great time. Matter of fact, there's a pink carpet. We're going to do some little Facebook Live interviews. So, Hollywood is not the only one that's got the red carpet. We got the pink carpet. I know that's right. And you don't have to go to Las Vegas to experience, red carpet treatment. You can come to Philadelphia on October the 7th and get the pink carpet ultimate game changer pink gala experience. So it's a way of celebrating and honoring and recognizing. And because, let me say this, Jamie, because it's October and our color theme is pink, this year we're going to recognize women, and we also have men who have victoriously overcome cancer.
Yes.
So, October is National Cancer breast cancer awareness month.
Yes, ma'am.
And so we're going to take it to a whole nother level. We're going to celebrate those who have came out on the other side. They have faced and came through the storm of cancer. That's not my testimony, but I have a young lady who is leading this committee, and she has overcome not one, but 5 forms of cancer.
Wow.
And when I think about it, it just makes you sit down and weep. Like, really? How could you do that? Just one level, one type is mind-boggling. And so my heart is to serve. My mission is to empower. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to celebrate, empower, honor, recognize. We're just going to take it on a very high level, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, and really to a place where people don't go every day. It's not every day we could dress up and celebrate. It's not every day, you're stepping on pink carpet with your heels and your gowns and your top. Right, so we're doing it. That's why I'm just symbolic here tonight with my pink on and my crown, because I honor these women and men who have done the work.
Yes.
It takes something today. I notice that distraction is at an all-time high. And when you get someone in your circle who is determined, who is intentional, who is focused, they need to be recognized.
Yes, ma'am. That's right.
They need to be honored. I have women who have launched new businesses. I have one game changer that went from driving a bus with minimum wage to she's now the CEO of $1 million company.
Wow. Look at that.
3 years in the making. but she
Wow.
started out with me as a bus driver for a school district, and
Yeah.
she's now the owner of a
Wow.
multi-million dollar business, and she's going to be there on October 7th.
That's awesome. Oh my God, that is awesome. And I really pray for the opportunity when I can come to Philadelphia and be a part of this event. I love to see people honor people. I love to see, and especially women, as we have a tendency sometimes we get so caught up in all that we're doing. And we think like I'm the only person that's struggling. I'm the only person that's having a hard time. I'm the only, and so we get kind of bitter in our interactions with other people. But every now and then we need to just come together and say, girl, let's get together. Let's hang out. Let's have some fun. Let's put on some makeup. Let's do a little dance. Let's have some fun. And so I'm just excited for you and just so blessed. I thank God for even the opportunity to connect with you. I say this all the time. I did an interview. I was interviewed a couple of weeks ago, and the question was asked to me, how important is social media to me? Especially with some physical challenges and not being able to go like I used to or whatever. And I said all the time, some of the greatest blessings in my life I have connected with through social media. And you are one of those people. And I just want to honor you publicly right now to let you know I genuinely appreciate you. I love you. I love the way you speak life into the lives of others. And I pray and ask God for the opportunity one day when I can just put my arms around you because you are truly a blessing. Okay, so I'm about to let you go because I will talk all night long, but I do want I do want you to give us information as to how people can connect with you, and tell us a little bit about your book. I forgot to mention that.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for the words of love. Thank you for loving on me tonight.
Oh,
You never know where people are, and I receive it with open arms. I receive it as a source of encouragement tonight. Planning a huge event is not a small task, and organizing and all of the details, because excellence is in details. So
thank
I receive it. I embrace
you.
it. I feel the love.
Oh,
And
thank
so
you.
thank you so much. And if you can get to Philadelphia, we got your ticket covered. I just want you to
Oh,
know that we got
yes,
you
ma'am.
covered. But they say that if you want a person not to know about something, put it in a book. And so so when I first heard that, I was like, what? So I got to writing books after books after books, to the point now I'm a book coach. But
Mhm.
I have multiple books. One of my best-selling Amazon book, I got it right here with me, is The 10 Commandments of the Wealth
Yes, that's the
Transfer.
one I wanted you to
Oh
talk
my
about.
God. Oh my
Yeah.
God. God spoke to me around 2020 during the pandemic to let me know that He was working everything together for our good, and that there was going to be a massive wealth transfer. And it's still even going on now with inflation and high price and gas. Whatever people are dealing with, if you want the keys to unlock the wealth transfer, then this is the book for you. And then I did another devotional for 30 days, spiritual profitability. See, God said He gave us the power to create wealth in Deuteronomy
Yes, ma'am.
8:18. So I have a 30-day devotional here that will keep you on track, because what you read it helps your faith, it stimulates you, it
That's right.
activates you.
That's right.
I have my daily planner. You can see my papers in here now. I don't go a day without writing down the plans and
Mhm.
talking about in my planner what I'm going to do, what I need to do, what I have to do, my
Yes.
commitments, my being accountable to myself.
Yes.
I teach accountability to my clients, and I need to be accountable to them and be accountable to myself. And then I
Yes,
took
ma'am.
my whole game changer program and put it in a book. There are
Oh,
5
wow.
powerful C's in here: confidence, courage, commitment, clarity, and call to action. This book will change your life. This will start you on your journey. And this is the book that we use for our foundation in our game changer coaching program. And so I'm here for all of it, book
Yes, ma'am.
coaching, mentoring, coaching in general, life, business, because
Yes.
people were there to support me, and we have not because we asked not. And
Yes, ma'am.
oftentimes we lack how to do what to do next because we don't have the wisdom and the guidance to navigate life. Life is complicated. Let's
Yes,
just
ma'am.
keep it
Yes,
real.
ma'am.
It's nothing easy about life today. And so we need the support, we need the encouragement. And that's what I do ultimately in helping people to change the game. Change the game mean is an individual thing. It's different things for different people on
Yes,
different
ma'am.
days. Some people are just in a personal growth stage where they're
Yes.
coming out of stinking thinking and low self-esteem and depression and bondages and things that are generational that they don't even
Yes.
have any control over. Okay. And
Yes,
other
ma'am.
people are at a place where this is my higher level mentorship, where they got all of the issues, the bases covered, and now they're ready to scale their business. They're ready to take it to the next
Right.
level. They're ready to create a legacy for the generations to come. And
Yes.
so
Yes.
that's what I do. That's what I love to do. That's my calling. That is my purpose. We started out talking about purpose, and I end tonight with purpose. And so people can go to my website. Thank you so much for posting it there on the link at
Absolutely.
trailblazingtransformation.com. We can do a free complimentary 20-minute strategy session to see where you are, where's a good fit to get you started. You can come to the gala and meet me in person. I'm waiting to just meet some of the people that I've met on the internet, never even met in person. The people that support me the most are the people on the internet. Like
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
people
ma'am.
I've never even met in person.
I
And it's a,
totally can
it's, it's
relate.
a mind-blowing situation, but it's a real reality.
Yes,
You
right.
know? And the word of God says that a prophet is not accepted in his own home. And so I got to learn that the hard way,
Yes,
and
ma'am.
I just
Yes,
thank
ma'am.
God that we have a global community that I was able to meet
Absolutely.
you on the internet. And here we are now,
Yes.
through all of your
Yes.
tests and trials and all of your ups and downs, you stayed the course.
Yes,
And even
ma'am.
when I felt like you wanted to lean off the road, I was like, no, 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 no. Get back on there, stay the course. I will be feeling tight right there in the post. No, 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 no.
That's
God
right.
is
Yes,
talking,
ma'am.
God is moving. Don't you dare.
Yes, ma'am. You're right. You're absolutely right. And I love that. I love that. I'm just so grateful for this time that we spent tonight. I feel encouraged. I feel enlightened. I feel empowered. I feel, yes, it's time to move on to the next level. And I know that this is proper timing for you to be here tonight because there are some changes and some shifts that I need to make, things that I need to do. And you are the person that I was supposed to have here tonight. And I'm so grateful that you made time for me because I know you have a lot going on, but I appreciate you doing that. And I want to encourage everybody who's listening now, those who will be listening in the replay, to do what you can to connect with Apostle Lougenia Rucker. Go to the website, purchase the books. I personally am going to purchase some books. Um, Give a donation, whatever you can do to support somebody that you know is good soil, somebody that is speaking life into people and bringing people forward, not pushing them backward. Let's do what we can to support one another. Again, thank you so much, Apostle, for being here
Thank you.
tonight. You really made my day.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You made my night. God bless you. Know that I love you.
I
And you're
love
never alone.
you. We will talk again soon.
Shalom.
Shalom.